When and how do baseball teams risk using their star pitchers in unfamiliar situations? It's the height of postseason drama. And here to fill us in is WSJ sports reporter Matthew Futterman. Matthew, thank you so much for joining us.
How are you?
So how has pitching strategy changed in the past decade or so?
Well, what you used to see much more in the postseason was managers really sort of playing for today, and in those really high-intensity situations late in the game, they would not hesitate to bring in the aces of their staff, whether it was Oral Hershiser in 1988 or Pedro Martinez in 1999. Greg Maddux came in, another great Hall of Fame pitcher. These guys were starting pitchers, but when crunch time came, managers wouldn't hesitate to bring them in. Now, not so much.
So what kinds of pitching lineup decisions are you seeing that surprise you?
Well, it's not so much what surprises you, because that's what used to surprise you. Even though it happened a lot, there was nothing more exciting and nothing more surprising than, oh my God, he's going to bring in Pedro Martinez.
But now you don't get those surprises.
Now you don't get those surprises. I mean, I think what's happened is bullpen management, the relief pitching, has become much more regimented. You can blame the Yankees for this somewhat, because for years they had, an eighth-inning guy feeding right into Tanya Rivero, and that was sort of the blueprint for how every team has tried to do it. So now you even have situations where you have managers saying, he's our seventh-inning guy, he's our eighth-inning guy, and he's our ninth-inning guy. And in the ideal world, they sort of stick as closely as possible to that routine.
But isn't that a little risky in postseason? I mean, what are they saving it for?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you wouldn't seem to think that you'd be worrying about whether these guys are too tired or not. I think the strategy during the regular season in being so regimented in your bullpen is you got to last 162 games. Postseason, you got to last a month.
Right.
And so you'd like to think that you'd want your best guy out there.
Is this coming from the pitchers themselves? Are they reticent to go out there postseason?
No, and you talk to any pitcher. I'll do whatever it takes. Right. Whenever you call on me, I'll be ready to go. I mean, these guys are competitors. They want to throw. They prefer to start and stick with their regular roles. But you don't become a professional athlete by shying away from the stage when the light is brightest.
Certainly not.
So they want to get in.
But what about injury, though? You write that there are a lot of injuries this year.
Right. I mean, it seemed to get worse almost every year. The reconstructive elbow surgery is really the most common thing. It seems like every great young pitcher at some point early in his career is undergoing some really major surgery that costs him a season. You saw it right here in New York with Matt Harvey. So, I mean, that is a major concern, and is overwork going to cause those injuries? I think what you see a lot is those young pitchers, they pitch so much growing up that a lot of the damage was done before they even got to the major leagues. And then they get to the major leagues, and by that time, with kids pitching year-round these days, playing fall baseball and winter baseball, they just never get a break.
Right.
And so that's what's probably causing a lot of the harm even before you get to the majors.
And so who are the pitchers you're keeping an eye on this postseason?
Well, I mean, there's one pitcher everybody's focused on. That's Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers, who is just, the greatest thing since last year's sliced bread. But he's been good for several years now. His team is pretty darn good, and I don't think anybody wants to face him. And if he comes in the ninth inning to get an out, I guarantee it will be an electric atmosphere.
Sounds great, Matthew Futterman. Thank you so much for all that.